6 death-defying cliffside structures in China that defy the laws of physics. Do you believe there are places in the world where people have built structures so terrifying that simply looking at them is enough to make your legs shake with fear? There are temples that have clung to sheer cliffs for more than 1,000 years. There are pathways barely wide enough for a single footstep, yet they run along cliffs that drop hundreds of feet straight down. And there are transparent glass bridges where every step feels as if you're walking suspended high in the sky. Hello, and welcome to Discovery Fact. My friends, when people think of China, they usually picture world-famous landmarks like the Great Wall winding across rugged mountains, the magnificent Forbidden City standing in the heart of Beijing, or the Terracotta army of Emperor Qin Shi Huang, an archaeological wonder that has amazed the world. But beyond these iconic attractions lies another side of China that far fewer people know about. Here, you'll find ancient temples clinging to vertical cliffs as if defying gravity, pathways barely wide enough for 1 foot tracing the edges of dizzying precipices, glass bridges suspended high above the landscape, and even massive structures carved directly through solid mountains by human hands. What these remarkable places have in common isn't just their breathtaking beauty, it's their unbelievable locations, where simply setting foot can send chills down anyone's spine. These structures stand as extraordinary proof of humanity's bold engineering, remarkable ability to adapt to nature, and unwavering determination to conquer landscapes that once seemed almost impossible to build upon. So what exactly are these incredible places? Why have they become so famous? And how did the Chinese people manage to create them? In today's video, join me as we explore the 6 most dangerous cliffside structures in China. Masterpieces so astonishing they'll leave anyone holding their breath, impress even modern engineers, and make it seem as though nature itself has given way to human creativity. Are you ready? If so, let's begin with our very first destination, a 1,400-year-old temple that appears to be hanging in midair. The Hanging Temple, a 1,400-year-old cliffside masterpiece that defies the laws of physics. After seeing some of China's most treacherous roads and towering cliffs, our first destination is a place so unbelievable that many people have to rub their eyes just to make sure they're seeing it correctly. Standing before us is a temple that doesn't appear to be built on a mountain. It looks as if it has been attached directly to the face of a sheer cliff. From a distance, the small structure seems to float in midair, as though a single powerful gust of wind could send it plunging into the canyon below. This is the Hanging Temple, a remarkable sanctuary that has stood firmly in place for more than 1,400 years. Also known as Zhuangkong Temple, the Hanging Temple sits at the foot of Mount Heng in Shanxi Province, China. It is one of the most extraordinary architectural achievements in Asia and one of the very few temples in the world built directly into the side of a vertical cliff. According to historical records, construction began during the late Northern Wei dynasty, around the 6th century. Legend says that a monk named Liao Ran chose this isolated location as his place of worship because he wanted to escape the noise and distractions of life below. But when people first see the temple's seemingly impossible location, one question almost always comes to mind. Why build it in a place that looks nearly impossible to construct? The answer lies in the mountain itself. The temple was built about 246 feet above the ground, tucked beneath a massive natural rock overhang. This rocky ledge acts like a gigantic umbrella, shielding the structure from heavy rain, reducing direct sunlight, and protecting it from falling rocks tumbling down from the mountaintop. In other words, the builders didn't try to fight nature. They cleverly used the mountain's natural features to protect their masterpiece. This is one of the reasons why modern engineers regard the Hanging Temple as an outstanding example of architecture designed in harmony with its environment. Looking up from below, many visitors assume the entire weight of the temple is supported by the slender wooden columns visible at the front. In reality, that's not the case at all. Those wooden columns were added during later restoration projects and serve only as supplemental supports. The temple's true structural system is hidden deep inside the cliff itself. Ancient builders carved large cavities into the rock and inserted massive wooden beams deep into the mountainside to create the temple's primary framework. Combined with heavy timber beams and carefully engineered wooden joints, the entire structure is securely anchored into the enormous rock face behind it. Even today, engineers continue to admire how the builders accurately calculated the load distribution and took full advantage of the natural landscape, all without modern technology. If you ever have the chance to visit the Hanging Temple, you'll quickly understand why it's consistently ranked as one of China's most thrilling tourist attractions. Its narrow wooden walkways are only wide enough for a few people to squeeze past one another, connecting roughly 40 halls and pavilions throughout the complex. Every step produces the unmistakable creaking sound of centuries-old timber, while directly beneath your feet lies a dizzying drop into open space. One accidental glance downward is often enough to make your head spin almost instantly. At that moment, many visitors can't help but wonder, am I walking through a temple or riding the world's most terrifying attraction? Yet beyond the adrenaline lies something even more remarkable: its cultural significance. Unlike most temples dedicated solely to Buddhism, the Hanging Temple is one of the rare places where statues of the Buddha, Confucius, and Laozi stand together under the same roof. This unique combination reflects the philosophy known as the unity of the three teachings, a belief that Buddhism, Confucianism, and Taoism can coexist and complement one another rather than stand in opposition. This idea profoundly influenced Chinese civilization for centuries. After surviving more than 1,400 years of wars, earthquakes, countless storms, and harsh weather, the Hanging Temple still clings proudly to the cliffside, a lasting testament to the ingenuity, craftsmanship, and engineering brilliance of the ancient builders. Today, it attracts millions of visitors every year while continuing to fascinate architects and engineers from around the world who study its ingenious design and remarkable construction techniques. If you ever have the opportunity, I truly think a trip to this incredible place would be an unforgettable experience. Mount Huashan's Plank Walk, where every step is a battle against fear. If the Hanging Temple amazed us with the engineering brilliance of the ancient builders, then our next destination takes that feeling to an entirely different level. This time, you won't be walking along wooden corridors protected by relatively sturdy railings. Instead, you'll step onto a series of narrow wooden planks bolted directly into a sheer cliff face, with a seemingly bottomless drop beneath you, so deep that one quick glance downward is enough to make your legs go weak. This is the Mount Huashan Plank Walk, a trail that countless travel magazines and thrill seekers have ranked among the most terrifying hiking paths in the world. Located in Shanxi Province, Mount Huashan has long been regarded as one of China's 5 great sacred mountains. The mountain is famous not only for its breathtaking scenery and ancient Taoist temples, but also for its network of perilous trails carved into cliffs that are almost completely vertical. For most visitors, the journey begins with about a 20-minute cable car ride to the middle of the mountain. But don't think the hardest part is already over. In reality, the true challenge is only beginning. After leaving the cable car, you'll continue climbing steep stone stairways and squeezing through narrow mountain passages before finally reaching the mountain's most famous attraction, the Huashan Plank Walk. The first feeling that hits you isn't excitement. Many visitors say that the moment they stand before this trail, they almost forget how to speak. Stretching out in front of them are just a handful of wooden planks, each less than 4 inches wide, secured to the cliff by heavy iron brackets. On one side is a cold, unforgiving rock wall. On the other is an endless expanse of open air, with a drop so deep that the bottom seems impossible to see. This isn't a place where you can simply stroll along. To move forward, you have to press your body tightly against the cliff, grip the heavy iron safety chain with both hands, and inch your way ahead one careful step at a time. In some sections, you even have to lean your body aside to let people traveling in the opposite direction squeeze past, all while standing above a cliff that plunges hundreds of feet below. Just imagining it is enough to give many people goosebumps, isn't it? According to historical records, this remarkable pathway was first created around 700 years ago during the Ming Dynasty. It is believed that a Taoist priest named He Zhizhen initiated its construction to provide access to the mountain's secluded places of worship. What's truly astonishing is that the entire route was built on terrain that is almost completely vertical, all without the help of modern machinery. But surprisingly, the plank walk isn't even the most difficult challenge on Mount Huashan. Before reaching it, visitors must first conquer a section many people call Huashan's Throat. This is a stone staircase of more than 370 steps, carved directly into the mountainside. Each step is barely wide enough for a single foot, and the incline is so steep that many climbers end up using both their hands and feet, scrambling upward as though they were climbing a vertical ladder. On the steepest sections, a heavy iron chain becomes the only thing standing between you and the massive drop below. Many people joke that the greatest challenge at Mount Huashan isn't your physical strength, it's overcoming your own fear. And perhaps the moment they're most proud of isn't snapping a photo at the summit. It's finding the courage to take those first few steps across a handful of wooden planks suspended high above the clouds. Honestly, just looking at it is enough to make your palms sweat, isn't it? So what about you? Would you be brave enough to experience this heart-pounding adventure at least once? Let me know in the comments below. The Guoliang Tunnel, a hand-carved passage through solid rock that saved an entire village. My friends, if the Huashan Plank Walk was built to challenge the courage of thrill-seekers, then our next destination has a completely different story behind it. It wasn't built for sightseeing. It wasn't built to break records. It was created for one simple reason. The people who lived here wanted a road that would allow them to live like everyone else. This is the story of the ancient village of Guoliang. Hidden deep within the majestic Taihang Mountains in Henan Province, China, the village sits like a tiny island surrounded by towering cliffs that rise nearly 5,600 feet above sea level. The scenery here is breathtaking, but for centuries, that very beauty became a barrier separating the villagers from the outside world. Few people realize that before the 1970s, the residents of Guoliang had only one way to leave their village. They had to follow a narrow stone path carved into the mountainside, climbing and descending roughly 720 winding stone steps that hugged the edge of a sheer cliff. The trail was narrow, steep, and dangerously slippery. Every trip down the mountain was a gamble. Whenever rain or thick fog rolled in, transporting food, medicine, or seriously ill patients to the nearest hospital became nearly impossible. For the village's children, even getting to school was a dangerous journey. These hardships lasted for centuries, until the villagers finally decided to change their own destiny. In 1972, the residents gathered together and made a bold decision. They would carve a tunnel straight through the mountain to create a road to the outside world. What makes this story even more remarkable is that they had almost no modern machinery. Only 13 strong volunteers stepped forward to take on what seemed like an impossible task. Armed with nothing more than hammers, chisels, and steel crowbars, they began chipping away at the solid rock before them. Not for a day, not for a month, but for 5 straight years. Day after day, the sound of hammers echoed through the mountains as they shattered rock by hand and carried every broken piece out themselves. Some days, advancing just a few inches was considered a major achievement. The work wasn't just exhausting, it was incredibly dangerous. At any moment, falling rocks could cause serious accidents, and protective equipment was virtually non-existent. Yet they refused to give up. Finally, in May 1977, the impossible became reality. After 5 years of relentless effort, they completed a tunnel stretching approximately 3/4 of a mile through the massive mountainside. It became known as the Guoliang Tunnel, a project that completely transformed life for the entire village. Even today, visitors driving through the tunnel are amazed by the way it was built. Unlike modern tunnels with smooth concrete walls, the Guoliang Tunnel remains remarkably natural. Much of the exposed rock has been left almost exactly as it was, giving the passage a rugged and authentic character. Along one side of the tunnel are 35 uniquely shaped rock windows. Originally, these openings were created so workers could remove excavated stone during construction. After the tunnel was completed, they took on a second purpose, allowing natural light and fresh air to flow into the passage. But that beauty also comes with its own challenges. Some sections feature sharp, blind curves where visibility is extremely limited. The roadway is only wide enough for 2 vehicles to pass each other slowly. If a driver is inexperienced or careless, navigating those hidden turns can still be risky. That's why anyone driving through the Guoliang Tunnel is advised to maintain a low speed and stay alert at all times. Yet those very curves are also what make this one of the most scenic drives in all of China. Through each of the tunnel's rock windows, breathtaking mountain views suddenly appear like living works of art. On one side stands an immense rock wall towering overhead. On the other stretches a lush green valley reaching all the way to the horizon. All it takes is pulling over for a few minutes to truly appreciate just how small we are compared to the incredible power and scale of nature. The Beilong Elevator, the riding the dragon machine that lifts people through the cliffs of Zhangjiajie. After exploring the Guoliang Tunnel, where people spent 5 years carving a passage through solid rock with nothing but their own strength, we're heading to a completely different kind of engineering marvel. This time, instead of conquering the mountain on foot, people have created a gigantic machine capable of carrying thousands of visitors to the mountaintop in just a matter of minutes. But what makes this structure truly extraordinary isn't just its speed, it's where it was built. Imagine yourself standing at the base of enormous sandstone pillars rising hundreds of feet into the sky, surrounded by steep, forest-covered mountains. Instead of seeing a hiking trail ahead, you're looking at a giant glass elevator climbing straight up the face of a towering cliff. This is the Beilong Elevator, one of the most unusual and impressive transportation structures in China. Located within the Wulingyuan Scenic Area in Hunan Province, China, the Beilong Elevator stands in the heart of the breathtaking landscape famous for its towering sandstone pillars, which inspired the floating mountains seen in the blockbuster film Avatar. From a distance, the soaring rock columns of Zhangjiajie look like enormous natural skyscrapers rising from a sea of lush green forest. This spectacular terrain created a difficult challenge. How could millions of visitors reach the breathtaking viewpoints above without spending hours climbing the mountain? The answer was the Beilong Elevator. Built directly against a nearly vertical cliff, the elevator rises approximately 1,080 feet and has been recognized by Guinness World Records as one of the tallest outdoor elevators in the world. The name Beilong literally means 100 dragons. It reflects the dragon's powerful symbolism in Chinese culture while also evoking the thrilling sensation of a massive elevator soaring upward between gigantic cliffs. Perhaps the most fascinating part of the experience is what happens inside the elevator itself. Unlike an ordinary elevator that simply carries you from one floor to another, the Beilong Elevator feels more like an aerial sightseeing tour. Each cabin features transparent glass walls, allowing passengers to enjoy uninterrupted views throughout the entire ride. At first, after the doors close, all you see are towering rock walls surrounding the elevator. But within seconds, the scenery begins to transform. The treetops slowly sink below you. The towering sandstone pillars gradually come into view. Then, in just 1 minute and 32 seconds, you're standing more than 1,000 feet above the ground, looking out over one of the world's most spectacular stone forest landscapes. The experience feels almost like watching nature perform a magic trick. 1 minute, you're standing at the foot of the mountain. The next, you're floating among the clouds. Each Beilong elevator cabin can carry about 50 passengers at a time, allowing the system to transport thousands of visitors every hour. As a result, instead of spending several hours hiking up the mountain, visitors can reach the scenic area above in just a few minutes. However, the construction of this enormous structure was not without controversy. From the very beginning, some environmental researchers expressed concern that building such a massive elevator could affect the natural beauty of Zhangjiajie, an area renowned for its unique geology and delicate ecosystem. Safety was another issue that drew public attention. After the elevator was completed in 2002, it was temporarily closed so engineers could conduct additional safety evaluations and inspections. Following a series of adjustments, it reopened in 2003 and quickly became one of the most popular tourist attractions in Zhangjiajie. Today, millions of visitors travel here every year not only to use the elevator, but also to experience something few places on Earth can offer. Standing inside a glass cabin as it slowly rises between towering cliffs more than 1,000 feet high. Of course, not everyone finds the experience relaxing. For people with a fear of heights, looking down through the transparent glass can be a genuine test of courage. As the ground grows farther away, the treetops shrink beneath your feet, and massive cliff faces glide past just outside the cabin. Many visitors instinctively tighten their grip on the handrail. So what about you? Would you be brave enough to experience this one-of-a-kind ride? Coiling Dragon Cliff, the glass cliffside walkway. Nearly 4,600 feet above sea level, that leaves visitors breathless. After experiencing the incredible ride between towering cliffs aboard the Beilong elevator, we're heading to a place that many people find even more nerve-wracking. This time, the challenge isn't about climbing higher, it's about what's directly beneath your feet. Picture yourself standing beside a sheer cliff face. On one side is a towering mountain wall stretching high above you. On the other is a seemingly endless drop overlooking the forests far below. And the only way to continue your journey is across a transparent glass walkway attached directly to the side of the mountain. This is the Coiling Dragon Cliff Glass Walkway, often simply called the Coiling Dragon Cliff, one of the most famous and most heart-stopping glass walkways in China. Located along the route to the summit of Tianmen Mountain in Hunan Province, this remarkable structure hugs a nearly vertical cliff at an elevation of more than 4,600 feet above sea level. Here, you're not standing on a massive suspension bridge. Instead, you're taking careful steps along a narrow glass path that clings tightly to the mountainside. The very first sensation most people experience is a feeling of exposure. Beneath the transparent glass lies a dizzying drop, with drifting clouds often floating below your feet. Ahead is the towering rock wall. Behind you is the path you've already crossed. There is almost no choice but to keep moving forward. The glass walkway is approximately 330 feet long and about 5.2 feet wide. It is constructed from multiple panels of high-strength tempered glass designed to support tremendous weight and safely accommodate the large number of visitors who cross it every day. Yet what makes so many people nervous isn't the strength of the glass. It's the psychological effect. The human brain is naturally wired to fear heights. When you can see the ground thousands of feet below through perfectly clear glass, your body instinctively reacts with a sense of danger, even though you know you're completely safe. Many visitors respond in remarkably similar ways. Some move forward very slowly, keeping their eyes fixed straight ahead to avoid looking down. Others can't resist satisfying their curiosity. They glance into the abyss beneath them, only to immediately grab the handrail as a wave of dizziness sets in. Some even joke, to walk this path you only need two things: a sturdy pair of shoes and a very strong heart. Yet it is precisely this contrast between breathtaking beauty and overwhelming fear that gives the Coiling Dragon Cliff its unique appeal. On one hand, it offers an adrenaline rush unlike almost anywhere else. On the other, it provides one of the most spectacular panoramic views of Zhangjiajie, a landscape renowned for its soaring stone pillars, mist-filled valleys, and ever-changing layers of clouds. On clear days, the glass walkway offers sweeping views of mountain ranges stretching all the way to the horizon. When fog rolls in, however, the valleys below gradually disappear, creating the surreal feeling that you're walking through a world that exists only in ancient legends. Structures like the Coiling Dragon Cliff Glass Walkway allow visitors to experience that incredible scenery from a perspective that would otherwise be impossible. What's especially remarkable is that despite its intimidating appearance, this walkway wasn't built simply to frighten people. Its greater purpose is to offer visitors a completely new way of experiencing nature. Rather than carving away the mountains to construct massive buildings, the walkway was carefully designed to follow the existing contours of the cliff, allowing people to appreciate the landscape while preserving the feeling of being immersed in the natural environment. Of course, with such an extraordinary location, safety is always the highest priority. The walkway is regularly inspected and maintained, and visitors are required to follow strict safety regulations to ensure that every experience is as safe as possible. Today, the Coiling Dragon Cliff Glass Walkway has become one of China's most iconic tourist attractions and one of the country's most popular photo spots. If you ever have the chance to visit China, this is definitely one destination you won't want to miss. Tianmen Mountain, the legendary 99 Bend Road, and the mysterious Heaven's Gate high above China. After crossing the Coiling Dragon Cliff Glass Walkway, where every step tests your courage, we continue to the final destination on our journey through China's most dangerous cliffside structures. And perhaps nowhere combines breathtaking natural beauty, extreme terrain, and a true sense of adventure quite like Tianmen Mountain. This isn't just another famous mountain, it has become an icon, known for its winding mountain road that demands a driver's full concentration every second, its towering cliffs shrouded in mist, and its enormous natural rock arch, known by the mysterious and poetic name Heaven's Gate. Located within Tianmen Mountain National Forest Park in Zhangjiajie, Hunan Province, about 5 miles from downtown Zhangjiajie, Tianmen Mountain has long been one of China's most celebrated tourist destinations, but reaching its summit is far from easy. The mountain's most famous feature is the legendary 99 Bend Road, widely regarded as one of the most spectacular and challenging mountain roads in China. Although it's only about 6.8 miles long, the road twists continuously around the mountainside with 99 sharp switchbacks. Viewed from above, its endless curves resemble a giant dragon coiling itself around the mountain. That extraordinary shape has made it a dream destination for travelers who love adventure. But its beauty comes with real danger. The narrow roadway, steep grades, and constant hairpin turns demand excellent driving skills, especially during heavy rain or when thick mountain fog reduces visibility. Just a brief moment of distraction can make the journey far more difficult and potentially dangerous. It's no coincidence that many travel publications have ranked this route among the most challenging mountain roads in the world. For thrill seekers, driving a car or even riding a motorcycle through all 99 turns is an unforgettable experience. At the end of the journey lies the landmark that has made Tianmen Mountain truly famous, Tianmen Cave, better known as Heaven's Gate. This enormous, natural rock arch sits high within the mountainside and was formed over millions of years through geological processes. According to many sources, the arch was created after a massive collapse of a limestone cliff, leaving behind a spectacular vaulted opening unlike anything else in the region. Seen from a distance, Heaven's Gate looks like a gigantic doorway carved into the mountain itself. Because of its extraordinary appearance, the site has become deeply connected with local legends and cultural traditions. Many people believe this stone arch serves as a gateway between the human world and the heavens, which is why it was given the poetic name Tianmen, meaning Heaven's Gate, or the gateway to the sky. To reach the arch, visitors must climb 999 stone steps leading up the mountainside. The number 999 carries special significance in Chinese culture, as the number 9 has long been associated with longevity, eternity, and imperial power. My friends, from the 1,400-year-old hanging temple to the Huashan plank walk, the Guoliang tunnel carved through a mountain entirely by hand, and modern engineering marvels like the Beilong elevator and the coiling dragon cliff glass walkway, every one of these places proves one remarkable truth. When faced with the limits imposed by nature, human beings always find a way to overcome them. Cliffs that once seemed accessible only to birds and drifting clouds have ultimately become home to some of the world's most astonishing stories of human ingenuity, courage, and creativity. If you ever have the opportunity to visit China, which of these incredible places would you challenge yourself to experience first? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to Discovery Fact and turn on notifications so you won't miss our future journeys as we continue exploring the world's most incredible, mysterious, and unbelievable places together. Until next time, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.